Hello, guys. How are we doing this evening? Um, we are here with episode number 5 of Hangar Ready. And with me tonight is Jolly
Evening.
and Turing.
Good evening.
And all three of us are going to be your hosts tonight for Hangar Ready. We've got a pretty good show set up for tonight and lots of interesting things to cover. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And so, our first topic tonight, guys, we held it over from last month because we couldn't get to it, is theaters of war. Jolly, you put this on the calendar and for us to chat about. So I'll let you start.
Also, it's not out yet, so we're waiting for it. They say it's going to be early 2020. I am looking forward to it. If you watch the release video that they made for it, and they announced out the con, it's in their own words a mix of the Arena Commander and Star Marine, with advantages over both those. In other words, in terms of Star Marine, the comments about you're limited in your space, your area, your play area was pretty well limited. With Theaters of War, it's going to be extended out. Those sniper rifles will actually mean a little bit more now. The reason why they have 8 times scopes offered to you now, we have a better understanding for it. So that part comes into play. Arena Commander, I've always thought was way too small a player. It's way too small a ball to be flying around it anyways. So this will expand that out a little bit better, more closer to what we have in the PU. So that's a positive on it too. I think a lot. I don't mind them doing it. Okay, now I'll have a fourth thing I can select from when I go to the first screen of the game itself to play it or not. The basis of it, the concept of it, I think is fine. They say it's going to be seamless as you transition from that ground to ground to the ground slash air aspect of it to find the battle in space where you're trying to take down the space station, the drill itself, and how you attack it via both the ships and by landing troops there to take that out. I think that's all good positives. I like those things all quite a bit. I have one major concern, and that has to do with team composition and communication, or two concerns. Composition, if they can make it in a manner that if my org, whatever org you may have, get 20 people together for this 20v20, so I got a group together of my own people that I could go in there and work with at a combined operation, I think it's great. But if it's a matter of I just go into a hopper and I pop out of whatever team with people who I don't know, that's kind of a negative right there. Communications I'm worried
Circa
about because
Star Marine, as an example, right, Jolly?
yeah, Star Marines you
On a
can
larger scale.
you kind of time it a little bit. With a bit of luck, you might get five of your fellow mates with you to play Star Marine, but it is still luck. You may end up not being on the same side whatsoever. That's a negative, in my opinion. The communication I'm really concerned about. We have a VoIP, okay, but VoIP is a very limited distance that you can talk on it. So, how am I supposed to coordinate an air-ground operation unless I can talk to everybody in the group itself? I don't know if they have something planned on it. I've gone through everything I can find to read or watch. I haven't seen anything come out of it yet. As for how are we supposed to coordinate these attacks as a 20-person team, I just don't see it yet.
Well, I agree completely. I'm going to be honest. I think that this is not going to work very well, and B, I think it's a waste of developer time, quite frankly.
Well,
So I don't
I,
see the need for this. I'll be honest with you. You could do all of this in the PU, fix the PU.
yeah, but what this is I was intrigued when they said it was going to be linked in some way to the lore that is in Star Citizen, and it appeared when I looked at it, and maybe I looked at it from a different point of view because I don't have a lot of experience in first person shooters like Battlefield or Call to Arms or any of that kind of stuff. But it looked like it was kind of a scripted sandbox. And what I mean by that is you had objectives that they had defined that you had to complete, but how you went about doing that is based upon how you organize and how you control your forces. And maybe I didn't see it that way, but I think in that aspect, I liked it in being able you could try out new tactics, you could try out new techniques, in being able to see what different ship combinations might work, weapons combinations might work, etc. If you do like what Jolly said and be able to link up with your own group. As far as the communications, they already have the ability to set a communications channel within your ship. I think the next level might be your group that's there. So you might be able to join a channel that will allow you to talk to your entire group in game. I don't think that's going to be a hard thing for them to develop. But maybe I looked at it just a little bit different than what you guys do, who have a lot more experience.
Well, I don't know that we have a lot more experience, but just because nobody's really played this except for the guys at CitizenCon and UK. But, from my perspective, the it just seems like it's like Star Marine. Star Marine was really a waste. I mean, they've not done a good job with it, and you can't get on. You can't join as a team reliably. You can't play as a group reliably. I mean, there's just lots of issues there that it really isn't worth the work effort that you have to go through between you, me, and the wall. I mean, and we're so far behind in the development. I really question, does it make sense for them to spend resources building this whole other sandbox instead of, getting us another planet or fixing, the umpteen game breaking bugs. 30K crashes are still a major problem right now, correct?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can be. I mean,
a little better right now, but
it's a little bit better right now. I mean, I was on 3.5 hours last night and didn't have an issue, but I think it's catering to a certain sector of their player population that is, quite frankly, more used to those type of games, and so they're trying to integrate that to give people, something else to do when they get tired of space trucking or some other, big, expansive verse kind of thing. It's not going to replace the regular Star Citizen verse. It's not going to replace 80% of the population that wants to play in Star Citizen, but I think it's gonna cater to a certain sector. And if it does what Jolly has asked, it can be useful in
It's
a
a big
training
if.
environment, because Lord knows we do need to have some sort of combined arms integrated training ability. And there you go.
I agree.
yeah,
I think Nom makes a really good point. He makes the comment in chat, Namidius in chat is saying he feels that this is a way to cater to the Rexzilla population and some of the streamers that are, I think that he feels they're catering to that. I can see that.
It would be ready-made for that.
good. Yeah, it's ready made. It's good for streaming. You want a 30-minute session? They suppose it's a 30-minute game. It's like, yeah, I can see that happening quite a bit, and to an extent, sure. Now, how much developer time does it take up? Keep in mind, all the mechanics that we're seeing there already exist. Okay, I've only heard of 2 names mentioned on development of this game, so I'm not sure if it's really eating up any true developer time. Obviously, it has to eat up some.
It has to
But
because
I don't
it's a
think
completely separate
I don't think it's
area.
that much compared to obviously what's trying to
I
happen.
think it's more than you think because you have to create on the client side it may not be a whole lot, but you have to create a whole new server instance setup to be able to redirect these people into. So from the back end perspective, it's probably significant coding requirements.
Don't know. I don't know.
I
What,
don't know.
what it would be
Maybe
different
to
than what we
breach
currently
into
have.
that, you have to. But once you're in it and playing it, it seems that at least from what I remember from the Star CitizenCon presentation, it's basically Star Citizen in a kind of closed off environment.
Yeah, mini PU.
I get that. Tiny itty bitty PU. Yeah. A postage stamp. We've got some notes on here. I really see Lone Wolf and Chaos reigning the day in this environment.
Unless you're able to organize and go in as a group, I see a lot of problems.
And this goes back to my comment about can an organization do it? Because I play a lot of Squad, which is a great game, a good FPS game, and you are underneath the squad leader. Somebody's in charge of that 9-person unit, and that person's in charge is to be able to kick you out, et cetera, stuff like that. He has some power, not a lot, but some power over you. But even then, when I even have a good squad leader trying to get together 8 other individuals who they don't know to follow what he's telling them to do, it's really tough to do. And you'll always have 2 or 3 members decide go off and do their own thing, no matter what it may be, or not follow the orders that are given to them. And it's a pain in the butt, makes it much more difficult. Within an organization, at least there's some backlash if an org decides a 20-person op, and you got a couple of lone wolves out there, you can be correcting them after the game so it doesn't repeat itself. But with the 20 other or 19 other unknown individuals, a lot of problems to occur. Yep. Battlefield 1.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. That's as I see it, this is their attempt to be Battlefield 1. I agree completely, and I didn't like Battlefield 1 personally. Any other comments there, Turing, on the thing, or
No,
are we
just
good to
leave it
go?
at
Okay,
So-
I'm pretty neutral on it. Okay, I'm not.
You're
pro,
neutral.
I'm
No,
con,
and my comment would be with some tweaking, I think it can have beneficial impacts to the game. I think it'll also keep a certain sector of the population engaged, and in some cases away from the PU doing that kind of shenanigans there.
Well, and you do have a point. If it draws away the Port Olisar ship rammers,
Griefers.
even for a week, it will have been worth the while, in my opinion. But that's really, just put all the griefers over there griefing other people and keep them away from me. That's what I'm aiming for. Okay. Moving on to topic number 2 tonight. And boy, we're blasted through these a lot quicker than I thought. But I think this one will take a little bit more, and that's Cutlass Red. It came out, and I haven't got to play with one yet, but I've seen some videos. And I'm sorry, what? Oh, okay. Sorry. My wife is complaining it was in my face. My microphone was in my face. So, Jolly, tell me what you think of the Cutlass Red so far.
Well, I have a chance to play with the PTU. I do not own one. The Red was actually the second ship I pledged when I first joined Star Citizen. And of course, it's just now coming out now, so it's been more than a few years. Since then, I've upgraded it to something else, but I have no idea what the Red ended up as. But I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I think it's a good niche ship. I like the features, the ability to establish new spawn points. There are limits on it. I believe it's 4,000 kilometers is the max you can spawn from
Well,
it.
it used to be 4 million. I think they've downsized
They
it. I tried to
downsized it. I
find
know
it.
they
I
did.
tried to find it today. I think it's 20 now. 20,000.
All right, I'm not sure what it is. Somebody in the audience.
20,000 kilometers is way too close.
I think it's 20,000 kilometers is the spawn limit now.
That's ridiculously close.
Well, on a ground tactical operation, I think it'll work out well. I really,
Sure.
really do. Be able to respawn Marines to, in other words, you take your Red, you get your Marines to make that their spawn point. They go out, do stuff, they die, they respawn the ship. Make sure you're carrying spare weapons on you so you can bring out the one you dropped at the battlefield. And I think it'll work out because you get to keep your armor. Right now, the current status of the PU, you're keeping your armor and you get back into the fight. So that's a plus. That you still have to get yourself over to the fight again. So be it. Space battles, well, since you can't, have a spare ship hanging around, you can respawn back to the Red and just enjoy the rest of the trip in the back of the Red until it's time to go home. So not a lot of usefulness when it comes to a space battle. A good amount of usefulness when it comes to a ground battle, in my opinion. We'll have to test it out, play with it a few more operations, see how it goes, see how we can use it in a better manner. So that's a plus. There was a massive redesign. And those of you remember who the original Red one was out there, if you had it in your hangar, you looked at it, you're kind of like, it wasn't very big.
It just looked like a Cutlass painted red.
Well, look, remember the old black?
Like Cutlass
was the
painted
same way.
gray.
The original black was also a pretty small ship. The Red was a pretty small ship. The black rework, it comes out there. It's a beefier ship. It's a good sized ship. Same holds true for the Red. They made it much more of a box to fit all the beds in there and stuff like that. I went in there. I've used the beds. They do work, by the way. If you want to test it out, put your Red on a platform somewhere. Leap off a high building, break most of your bones, run into the bed, lay down, heal yourself. It works. You'll be back to full strength, no problems. So that's a positive on it. I do like that fact. I know they're coming up with some other aspects of the game, be able to drag bodies, help people around to move them, as opposed to just looking at them saying, sorry, you're going to die, man. And
it'd be nice if you could hit them with medipens.
You can hit them with medipens. That's nice, but
that would be nice.
But until you get them into the bed, and it's a good point. The medipens right now have been, the pure cure. I'm in horrible shape. I hit a medipen, voila, I'm perfect. Medipens have to take a knock now. They have to be reduced as for what they're going to actually be able to do for you.
Yeah, think of them as the quick clot bandage that you've got to put on, and you still got to get them to the battalion aid station. You still got to get them on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's good.
Me too.
Because that bed is now a feature in the game. We're going to have to reduce the usefulness of the pens themselves.
Yeah. Well, I actually own a Red, and I've actually had an opportunity to use it in a unofficial org type situation. We did an 890 jump mission where everybody came and set their spawn point in the back of the Red. We flew over to the 890 jump, and if you're not familiar with the 890 jump mission, you find this 890 in the middle of space. It's been hijacked. You got to first get rid of a couple of Cutlass Blacks that are around it, and then you go inside and clear, I think, 20 NPCs. So it was really interesting to once the enemy ships got cleared out, we pulled up to the side, and everybody went out and went inside. It was interesting to start watching them pop back up in the ICU as they got killed, and then immediately out the door, boom, right back into the 890 jump. Now, the advice of making sure you carry more than one primary weapon is absolutely crucial, because right now the way it works, you're going to drop that primary weapon. There are some gun racks that you could put guns in on the Cutlass Red. They have some gun racks. You could have that. So for that type of mission, it worked really well. I can also see it working very well in the same kind of situation for a ground assault on a bunker, making sure your Marines set their spawn points first. You might be able to recycle, and be able to go with it. So from that standpoint, it's very good. Beyond that, probably not a whole lot of use, simply because you need to work with the mechanic. The mechanic is that you instantly revive, and now you're off to go do something else. If you're a pilot in another ship, I'm not sure it's really all that beneficial to have it, because you're still going to respawn back at your original hab location. Even if you're in the back of my Cutlass Red, you're literally worthless to me right now, because you don't have another ship to go to. So it's really got a niche kind of thing to it. I think the thing that's going to grow in importance is going to be that healing capability of the ICU. As they begin to work towards, and I also have an Apollo in my inventory, and I'm really interested when that one comes out to see what level of medical play it's going to have above what the Cutlass Red has. But as they begin to tier that medical treatment, I think what your med pen situation, Jolly, is just like what you said it was going to be. It's not going to be the cure-all drug that it was in the past. It's going to be, I'm going to stop whatever's happening to you, and if it was serious enough, after a little bit of time, you're going to notice your little icon start flashing yellow again. It's going to start flashing red again. I've got to get you somewhere to be able to get you some more medical treatment to stop whatever is happening to you. So it's going to be intriguing to see what happens with that. And from an operational planning standpoint, right now, it's hit or miss whether or not you want to take one. I think it's very useful if you go mining with a bunch of first-time miners.
That
I'm not
make a
talking
mistake
hand
of
mining.
bringing grenades.
People who bring grenades with them on the trip. It's very useful to be able to have that and be able to pop back up and go right back inside. That only, it only really works maybe if you have 2 backpacks and switch them every time you go to a new rock, so you don't lose everything. But it has its niche capability, and I think it can grow with it. And just from an aesthetic point of view, it's really
a pretty
cool. It looks really. I mean, have you seen the lights when it goes off? I mean, I did medical operations planning, and I mean, this thing was great. It looks great. And I can tell you in the PTU, they have done a better job in looking at the lighting inside the back, the spotlight, the searchlight, and the scanning capability is going to be, I think, crucial. And where that's going to come into play would be at Space Wrecks, being able to go up, use that scanner to pick people out in the wreck itself, with the spotlight being able to pick them, and then use that new mechanic that was just mentioned, that drag and pull mechanic, to be able to pull that guy into the back of the Cutlass Red and heal them. So
I agree
a lot of
completely.
good places they can go with this. Not looking for it to come out anytime soon. It's years down the road for the true, I think, medical tier play to come into effect. But a lot of good stuff and a lot of good
not
stuff.
quite that long.
Well,
Maybe a year.
Maybe.
So Havoc asks the question. He's looking forward to the functionality of being able to place weapons and gear in the racks. My understanding is you can put stuff in the racks, you lose it, and there's some issues with respawn of the ship and it's staying in there or not, but not gear. I don't think we can place gear in the racks yet.
Currently, anything that goes in the rack can be taken out of the rack for that
Session.
one session. For that session, if you put anything in the rack and you store your ship, When it comes back out, it will not be, even if you're in the same session, it will not be in the rack.
Yep.
They're currently testing in PTU limited persistence, and over this last few days, it has worked, at least for me. It's worked extremely well. The only thing that it does right now, though, is you keep your stuff, you keep all your everything, but it takes all your components off your ship and just stores them back in your inventory, takes all your armor and weapons and stores it back in your inventory. You just have to do the Chinese dance at the beginning to put it all back on when you go in. If you currently still cannot store anything in the ship and have that persist between loadout, between calling the ship back out or sessions, login sessions, and that's because they haven't done the ship inventory yet. When the ship inventory comes, and that's one of the major, along with the physics grid, those are the two major things that they're looking at for salvaging, for those kind of game mechanics. They've got to have that ship inventory set. It should be able to be worked. I don't know why they can't work on it, because they've got the cargo grid piece, which will persist. I believe it will persist. If your cargo's in the ship on the cargo grid, it will persist.
I think those racks still need another layer of TLC before they're going to be working correctly.
Probably so.
Yeah. So, okay. I think that answers all the questions. Cutlass read great. I love it. Looking forward to it. I think that it's adding a level of gameplay. I really wish they had come out with the ability to drag people or move people to the bed, or the ability to hit somebody with a temporary fix, like you said, and they degrade over time. So there's a requirement to get them back. I just don't think that there's a compelling need today for the Cutlass Red in the current game mechanics, but hopefully they will fix that over the next year.
And did we mention it has a shower and a toilet?
A shower and a toilet. That's great.
So the Cutlass owners can't say that they can't put that in there anymore. So. Which doesn't mean Jack-Ola right now, but it might in the future.
It may in the future, it may not. Okay, moving on to segment 3. And this is something that Jolly wanted to bring up because it's a question a lot of people have. And I guess I'm the SME on this one. So, Jolly, I'll let you kind of talk about what you meant by this segment here and what we want to talk about. Maybe I can answer some questions, and maybe we can get some questions from the Peanut Gallery. They can ask as well for us to answer.
Well, obviously, everyone's interested in maintaining a security of your computer system. Okay, we've all had this drilled into us nowadays. It's more people know about it now, how to take care of themselves than they did in the past. That's all positive. The recently, thanks to you, Jay, I got a VPN on my system. But what effect does a VPN have on my gaming? Now, you explained to me that it's actually could be a negative. And a lot of times when I've gone gaming, I get suggestions such as, well, turn off your antivirus and turn off this and turn off that. It'll interfere with the game, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll do it because I want to play the game, but I'm also kind of wondering how much am I opening myself up to some sort of attack, though I don't think I'm really a target, but nevertheless, I'd like to not leave that door open. And I'm not really sure what level of taking my security down should I do in order to ensure that I've got a good gaming experience.
Okay, well, let's talk about VPNs first. And VPNs are great. I think people should have access to a VPN, for laptop browsing and phone browsing in public places, things like that. I think VPNs are great. I would not, under any normal circumstances, game over a VPN because it's just adding lag to your stream or to your gaming play. So I would never do that. I'd always run... I would always run as quick as I could with the least amount of latency between me and the gaming servers. And so I would never run with a VPN. Antivirus, that's kind of an old wives' tale to a certain extent and kind of not. And it really harkens back to the day when Norton was the go-to antivirus. Everybody had Norton. And Norton is a resource hog. It'll eat up 10, 15, 20% of a CPU sometimes. And so a lot of people suggested turning that off because it would impact the performance of the game. So if you're using, something other than the built-in Windows antivirus, I would consider pausing it for gameplay, just because every time you launch something, every time something's read into memory and you have antivirus there, it's looking at that and it's reading that information in a lot of cases and slowing down. And that's costing you frame rates. It's costing you FPS every time. So, so definitely that. One of the things I can say that most people should do for a game like Star Citizen is you really should turn on two-factor authentication. And if possible, you don't want to use the cell phone text messaging method. It's too easy for a bad guy to come in and steal your phone number. And that's a shame with U.S. carriers, how easy that is to do. But it's easy to steal that. And so if I turned on two-factor authentication, I would want to make sure that it's using some type of app that is running on a physical device, not something that is sending text messages. And if my only option was text messages or nothing, I would just pick a stronger password that's unique for that site instead of using SMS as your methodology for getting around that.
It's funny you mentioned a dual authentication. The first time I've ever used it was associated with gaming in order to protect your account. And now it seems to have gone from the gaming world to the rest of the world, because now a lot of my other accounts, my financial
they want
accounts
you to
and
use
stuff,
it.
they want dual authentication. And so it's strange how the gaming world is where I first ran across it. And now it seems like the rest of the world is catching up with the gaming world.
I've been using it for more than 20 years, two-factor authentication in the computer security space. I will say this, again, if my choice is between a password and an SMS message, I will pick just a password instead of going to two-factor. It's too easy for people to steal or to move your cell phone over to theirs via Sprint or T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon. They have really crappy security around that. And there have been lots of people in my world that have lost lots of money, tens of thousands, 20s of thousands of dollars by utilizing, having people utilize that loophole. So I really don't recommend doing SMS-based two-factor authentication. Go with the Google Authenticate or Duo or something like that, where you have an app and the app is tied to the physical device.
The question was asked, what's a good VPN?
I like PIA. There's some question now that they've been bought out that may not be a good choice. It depends on what you're doing. If you're an ADI assistant director or above, just hold tight. There may be something for you that's free of charge that you can use in the next few days. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Something that maybe Jolly was testing for me.
Oh yeah.
So Jay, outside of the gaming, I mean, with VPN, the only time I really encountered it outside of the gaming world was when I was working from home, back in a couple of my jobs before I retired, and we would VPN to the office. We would run
Correct.
it on my laptop and VPN. I'm not sure that was the proper use of what we're talking here.
That's exactly the right terminology from that perspective. In this case, when we're talking about VPN, we're talking about what happens is you run a piece of software on your phone or run a piece of software on your laptop. It allows, or your desktop computer if you really want to, and it makes an encrypted connection to a third party, oftentimes outside the United States. And because of that, I guess we need to back up and talk about this. So the first thing everybody needs to know is everybody is spying on you. And I'm not talking about just the NSA. Everybody is spying on you on the internet. Your internet service provider that you pay $100 a month to is spying on you. They're logging every website you go to. They're logging everything you look at. And then they're selling all that data to a lot of people, lots and lots and lots of people. So every time you go anywhere, people are spying on you. Anybody that tells you different's lying to you. So with that in mind, VPNs allow you to disguise that traffic from your ISP. It allows you to disguise the traffic and hide it when you're at Starbucks drinking a coffee, so that bad guy, me putting on my black hat, if I'm sitting at Starbucks and you log into a website without SSL encryption, or if I'm really sneaky, even if you have it, I can grab your password over the wireless. I could definitely see where you're going and that kind of stuff, and get information about who you are, and be just generally a bad guy. VPNs protect you from all that. And so I recommend strongly that if you are using public Wi-Fi on your phone or on a laptop, a VPN is critical, because a little bit of delay in browsing a website or doing something like that is well worth the effort to get the additional privacy. At home on a gaming computer, you don't really need one. But it's meant as a privacy thing more than it's meant, and a security thing than it's meant as a accessing a work network. But you use the same software in most cases to set up a, from your work computer, work laptop into your office to access their private servers, also uses VPN technology as well.
Right.
Is that way too much information?
No.
Did I nerd out
No,
on you a little bit too much?
No. It fits with what I was used to seeing, which is probably why I don't have it now, because all I really use my computer at home for is gaming. So
Yeah, I would urge
but it was,
you
but it
for
was,
your
I
phone.
thought it was interesting when you said for your cell phone have
Oh,
one,
yeah.
even
Yes.
if you're out and about, because I have used my cell phone before as a mobile hotspot and things like that.
I would definitely have it on my cell phone if I ever connected to Wi-Fi at a McDonald's or a Starbucks. There are bad guys out there that will do really bad things to you if you don't.
Cool.
So, and Nam is reporting really quick, or Nimidius is
Yeah.
reporting that he just did a test, and it looks like on the PTU it may be keeping the rack information, which will be cool.
Yeah.
But back
that will be
to,
cool.
but yeah, I definitely would encourage that, and also just from a, to a certain extent, McDonald's, Starbucks, everybody that is running free public Wi-Fi, it's really not free. They're tracking what you're doing and where you're going and selling that information to third parties. And so, do you really want to provide them with your, who you are on Facebook and all that stuff? It's personal preference. So I have a sinking suspicion, Turning, if you asked someone really politely after the show's over, that they might hook you up with a VPN account.
Gotcha.
Whoever hooked Jolly up with his,
Yeah,
I'm
did
certain that we could get you taken care of.
It's really easy to use too. Ungodly easy.
Well, if it's anything like what we used to use at the air staff,
I say.
Yeah. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it's press a button, kind of easy.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, as long as you got all the other things that are set up behind the scenes, everything's already. It was just boom, and you're gone.
yep, it's We'll get to that though. Okay, any other questions on technical stuff? Lacoste, hopefully we answered that question for you. PIA, if you want to buy one, is who I would recommend today. But if you want to hold off, I think you might have somebody might hook you up with something to use for gaming stuff.
So I see Havoc was asking a question. There is a function that you just place the weapon into the rack. So if you look at it and hit your F key or enter thought, place will come up and it'll go right into the rack. That's always been there. It's the fact that it won't persist over time.
But it looks like in the PTU it may be.
Yeah, we'll definitely be testing that.
Great.
So
okay.
They've been doing a database wipe every day at 1700 UTC, I think, and going back in and checking your totals and checking to see what's there. And I have yet to not have any of my things disappear. So everything is carried through from the time before. All the UEC numbers are correct. All the component stuff is correct. Everything's been there, and that is very, very exciting. Very exciting.
My only concern there is with 30K crashes and losing cargo and stuff like that. If you drain your bank account down, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, but they have one thing that they've also added, and that's ability for you yourself to reset your account.
Wow, I did not know that. So that'll solve that problem.
Yeah. So, and in fact, the PTU is supposed to be testing if you reset your account, persistence is supposed to go over the reset. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. Because if you've lost all your stuff and you've lost all your money and you do a character reset, is it really a character reset anymore? I don't know,
Well,
because
hopefully it is.
if everything goes across, then what's the purpose of the reset? But they gave the ability to do the individual reset, I think once a week, I think is what
Oh,
it
well,
initially
that's not
came
that
out.
bad. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So if you have a problem, then you do your character reset. It goes back to default. But I haven't actually tested that. I don't know if anybody out there in Chatland has actually tested the character reset in the PTU yet or not, but I haven't done it.
Okay. Anything else to add for security questions or Cutlass Red questions there, Jolly?
No, not for me.
Okay, so are we ready to talk about our big subject, the one that we're going to have a special guest for, and then the special guest had to bail on us due to real life. So, why do we do certifications and joystick profiles? That's a lot of hard work. We spend a lot of man hours on that. And I suspect that we have some non-ADI guys watching us, so they may not understand exactly how we're all set up, but I can promise you that ADI is probably the most organized gaming group that you've ever come across, or at least we'd like to think that. We put a lot of effort into staying organized. So, Jolly, talk to us about why certifications.
Okay, for the certification stuff, there's a lot of misunderstanding is probably the best way to put it. As for we say when the organization says, hey, you need to be certified to do this task or this task. I'll take mining as an example real quick. You need to be certified as a basic miner. It sounds like it's some sort of massive test that's being placed upon you. It's not. It is simply a matter of trying to train you, teach you, show you, hey, here's all the tricks and the quirks to the game itself in order to make sure you know what you're doing. You go out there, you don't blow yourself up. You can't really fail something like mining certification. You just have to keep trying it again until you get it down, and then you're good to go. Once you know, hey, you're good to go on this, you're not going to worry about it anymore, it's all said and done. And a lot of us training is done, it's self-study. In other words, we've created our own training guides and videos. You just watch them, get them. If you have a problem, go back to them, reference them again, say, okay, that's what I missed or whatever the case may be. Let's try it again. And it makes sense. It's not a draconian test, a pass-fail type of thing. It's quite matter. It's simply training to make sure you know what you're doing, and so you can go out there on your own, and we can trust that you'll be able to get the job done that we've given to you to do, and you're not going to kill yourself or hurt the organization, whatever the case may be. So that's the certifications.
I can tell you.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, sorry. I can tell you why we did this because I was here in the very beginning, and believe it or not, certifications were part of the org from day one. And that is, a lot of us that came over and started ADI were in a ARMA group before this. And we would play a fairly complicated ARMA with radio stuff that isn't part of the stock ARMA and weapons that weren't part of the stock ARMA. And we'd constantly have guys come in and go, oh, I know how to fly a helicopter. Oh, I know how to fire that missile. Or, yeah, I know how to do the radios. You don't need to walk me through this. But, as luck would have it, every time we would trust somebody and take them at their word, we get into game and there'd be some tank rolling up on us. And it's like, hey, shoot the javelin, kill that thing. And he's like, how do I arm this? The tank is rolling up on you. Or, you're climbing into a helicopter and you got to do a fast rope and the guy's number one in the stack. And he's like, what's the command to do fast roping? And it's like, we're done. We're going to start making everybody go through and just demonstrate that they know how to do this stuff. And, we've all anybody that's played multiplayer games that are organized in any way, shape, or form has run into that, right, Turing?
Yes, very much.
I mean, you've run into that. Give us an example of when that's bit you in the butt.
For when somebody didn't have the
told you that,
training.
I got this, and then they actually not be able to do it.
I'll go to squad. I mentioned that one earlier.
Yep, that's a good example, Jolly.
Use of mortars in a squad, okay? And you'll have some guys say, oh, yeah, I know how to use a mortar. I know how to use a mortar. So, okay, I trust you. I believe you. Here you go. Please, here's you on the map. You can mark it. Here's where I want you to hit it. And all of a sudden, you're getting these friendly kills, TKs coming across left and right. It's like, dude, you do not know what you're doing, do you at all? And so all of a sudden, it's like, you're hurting the team here, buddy. Get off the damn mortar. So it is a matter of Make sure you know what you're doing before we're going to put you in a place you could hurt somebody else as it comes into play. And you could run across that in one game or another. It's pretty. You can run across it in Star Citizen, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think in Star Citizen, it'd be somebody who didn't know how to operate a turret, or wasn't able to turn it on, and you're trying to figure. You're right in the middle of a battle, and suddenly nobody's able to operate it. They've never operated. They say I'm good to go, and they can't do it. Never threw a grenade before, and it lands at the bottom of everybody's feet. Doesn't know how to set the cruise or sets the cruise control, or doesn't know how to set the cruise control, and suddenly you're slamming into the thing. I don't know if it's as widespread as some of those other games where you have specialists. I mean, it's probably like for specialists.
It's
stuff,
coming. I mean, there's going to be mini games
I think your
associated with this medic
engineer on
stuff.
board, the person on board your ship that is going to be your shield manipulator or your engineer, if they don't know I can do that. I can change my shields. No, if you don't really know what you're doing, you'll suddenly be in a bad state.
Well,
I agree completely.
mining right now is a good example of the mini game you're talking about, where you can blow yourself up and
and
hurt
others if you're doing hand
mining.
mining in a close quarters area.
And there's a skill to using it, to use that little laser and your distance from the target. Make sure you blow it up without blowing you up.
But I think we need to make a distinction between certification, where you're demonstrating your ability to meet a set of standards or a competency, and just the knowledge you get for playing the game. Because there's a lot of things that you can get when you're playing the game that are, for lack of a better term, maybe workarounds or some other things you need to do, like what sequencing do you load an Ursa Rover and a Cyclone into the back of a Freelancer so that both fit? That's not really a certification. That's something you kind of work with and figure out, or you have a standard operating procedure on. But the certifications are actual competencies that people need to because if I'm putting together an operation, and I've got Marines, I've got fighters, I've got other kinds of people. With an organization of our size, you need to feel fairly confident, if you're the MC, that people who are in those roles are fairly competent to do those tasks. And I'm talking about for official ops type stuff,
Well, I think you want people to be competent when they're playing with others and when they're portraying the org. I mean, being you're not knowing how to do a prospect or run a prospector and blowing yourself up really only hurts you most 99 times out of 100. But when you're running escort for somebody and getting paid to do that, and they're in a different org, they're going to remember that ADI guy didn't know what he was doing. And it'll give a bad name to all the ADI escort pilots. And so, we're not trying to be jackasses, pardon my French, but we're trying to teach people that there is, we want to set a standard to make sure that everybody understands the basics and understands what they need to do.
Yeah, and in a game like this, the whole purpose of Star Citizen and the way they've designed it is that the skill is the player. I can't read a magic book. I can't wait till my little character levels up. I can't eat a magic mushroom, and suddenly I'm, an ace combat pilot. That's not going to
exactly.
work.
It doesn't work like that.
The skill is yourself. So the ADI certifications are that magic book. You have to be able to read it, do it, demonstrate it, to learn that skill and be better at what we're asking you to do. And if you're going to be flying in formation, and we're going to do things a certain way that is a proven way to meet our objective, then you have got to be able to demonstrate competencies. So
I agree completely. Jolly, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I will say initially when I came to the organization, I did not count up all the potential certs we had, but it was probably about 140, 150. We have since dropped that way down to a very manageable number.
Yeah. I think currently what we're laying out is both attainable and manageable at the same time.
Knock
And
on
that's
wood.
very important to have a certification program, because if it's not attainable, the members won't do it. And if it's not manageable, us on the leadership are just going to go, whoa, I'm done with this. You
Yeah,
know?
no, I
And
completely agree. And we're working on that as we move along. I don't think people understand just how much labor goes into running an organization with 6,600 members. It's nutsoid. And, we have over 100 staffers at this point in ADI that are working on stuff every week and trying to push the ball forward. And we're not pushing it as fast as we'd like. I think we all can agree on that. We wish it could go faster, but there's no way you could wait until 2 or 3 months before go live and get organized like this in any way, shape, or form.
well, I think one of the best things that happened over the last probably last year is that there was a decision made to push out as many self-certifying certifications as possible. And I think a lot of people need to realize that a lot of these certs that we're talking about are things that you do normally in the game, and you have the ability to on your own to learn and demonstrate those competencies. It's not as onerous as people may think it's going to be. There's been a lot of effort put into making it. I won't say simple, because it's not simple, but it's the skills that you need, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that you need to take care of it. And you'll be able to do it. Don't worry, you'll be able to do it. Some of them are going to be hard. Combat pilot, probably not going to get that certification myself, but
I
but
doubt
that's
that.
not
I bet
but
you'll
that's
be
not
there.
that's not really what I do. So that's great, but I want the guys that are doing that for me to know what they're doing.
Agreed. Jolly, any thoughts?
Yeah. Good closure on that one right there, Jordan.
Perfect. Okay. One last topic. Hey, we're running ahead of schedule. I guess we should have added more topics for tonight, but one
We
last
can take
thing.
topics from the field.
Well, we could. Guys, before we start this last topic, which isn't going to be too long, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, let's go ahead and post them to chat. If you just want to tell us that we're awful at this, that's fine too. We'll take the heat. We're big boys. But we're looking for feedback. But the last thing we have on our rundown sheet for tonight is CitizenCon 2020 got announced this week.
Yeah, hey.
And I wish Leaf would have been able to get on, but he's on the ski slopes right now, I believe, or watching us from the ski slopes. And it's LA, which we expected, October 10th, which is a Saturday. Love that. I'm super excited about LA. What about you, Jolly?
I would have preferred Vegas, but okay, LA will have to do
Me
it.
too.
Yeah, come on, let's get.
I agree. Vegas would have been better.
Nice thing is the convention center is huge, and so
It
the
is.
venue, Austin is as a long center had a lot of seating there. I think it was 2,300. I think you put in there for that. I remember the last CitizenCon they had in Germany was a pretty limited venue. The convention center should be very, very large, and I think anybody who wants to get a ticket will be able to get a ticket or attend out there. Price will be a little bit higher than something, for example, that Austin would be, but there should be enough there. Traffic's going to be an issue. Fortunately, it's a one-day convention still, so it's one trip in, one trip out, and that should take care of that any type of traffic problems we have.
But there's a
Some
lot
more
of stuff
stuff out
going
there.
on that whole week, though. We know that there's just going to be a Bar Citizen Friday night. And
Probably will be, but all that stuff is secondary to obviously the main purpose, which is the convention itself. So that's a positive.
the one thing is, depending on how much space they have, I think we might get a booth again. Hopefully,
Yeah, they
knock
may
on
even
wood.
expand it even further than what they did in the UK, which would be nice too.
I just hope they don't have those ugly booths from the UK. I did not like those. Mactor, trust me, everybody would have preferred a more firearm-friendly location. That's the reason Vegas would have been nice. But unfortunately, we no such luck on that one. But I'm going. Jolly, I think you and I are in at this point.
Oh yeah,
We're
I'm
headed
definitely
that
going. I'll bring some galoshes to avoid the human waste and feces that's on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and avoid the needles.
Yep.
Steel toe, the steel plate in the bottom of your shoes, probably
Yeah.
a good thing.
Smart move.
If I had it laying around here, I would show you my kitchen pass. My wife said it was okay to go, so I'm good.
Wow, congratulations.
It happens to be the day after my birthday too, by the way. So,
There you go. It's a present.
Well, it'll be a happy birthday then. Yeah, it's the day
it's the
after
day
our
before my
anniversary.
anniversary.
Oh,
Believe it or
wow.
not. So it's the day after my. So believe me, that kitchen pass, I'm saving it.
Gold.
Well, it's undetermined whether Jaglin's going to go with me or not, but it's the day after our 21st wedding anniversary.
Yeah. So you remember Josh's couch? I see things like that in my future, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm excited though. It's looking like it's going to be a great week out there 4 or 5 days out there in LA, depending on the travel schedule. Anybody else have any opinions in chat about CitizenCon in LA? Anybody excited about it?
I will say one thing. Did you see the title?
No, I didn't see the title.
The Adventure Begins.
The Adventure Begins. Oh,
That's
wow.
the title. If you look on the site, they just got a planet, and it just says The Adventure Begins is the name of the title. So that's going to be interesting. A lot of things you can read into that.
I agree. I think Squadron 42 may be beginning. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Or real close to it. Guys, if you're ADI members, we have a big meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jolly.
Correct.
Where we'll be doing a CitizenCon Q&A planning session. Leaf, who is our community manager board member, is taking the reins on that, and he is going to bring a lot of interesting stuff to the event. I think we're planning an ADI thing, and rough guesstimate right now is we're thinking somewhere north of 50 to 60 ADI members. Leafs thinking maybe up to 100 are going to be there on site. So would encourage you, if you can, to sit in on that. But I'm excited, super excited, definitely going. And I don't normally go to the weird coast or left coast, whatever you want to call it, because I'm not a big fan of that part of the country personally. I know everybody's a little different, but I'm going to go. So couple of things. If you haven't already, follow the Hangar Ready Twitch channel. If you're here, click the follow. Fizbane followed us 30 minutes ago, and I missed that. I apologize, Fizbane. But anybody else, please go ahead and follow. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. If you use either of those two social media platforms, please look us up. Pistol, thank you for the follow. I haven't seen any other questions. Oh, wait, Froststone is asking, will JC and Jolly be using a Lime in LA?
Paying good money to see them on scooter.
There is zero chance that I am going to. Uber is. Jolly and I made this decision last night. We're Ubering everywhere.
Yeah.
So door to door. We contemplated taking the metro line there and walking, and we were advised by other California residents that was not a wise plan. So we're going to be definitely Ubering, right, Jolly?
Correct, absolutely. Or Lyft.
Or Lyft, yes. One of the two. So, guys, we're 55 minutes. This is the first. We're on schedule, a little bit ahead of it. Closing thoughts, Jolly.
Nothing. Looking forward to CitizenCon. A lot of work to be done between now and then. A lot more information to be put out by SIG and RSI, so we know what to expect in the future. Hoping for a booth again. Hoping for multiple booths. We have some more work to do with that. Make something different, something new, something fresh. Once again, obviously, Shap Cap is one that leads with all the knowledge, skill, and ability for that. So that should be a big plus. Games coming along well. We talked about the Red tonight. It's a good plus. A new feature, a new function within the game. So that's a positive. The PTU, if you have been playing it, you see it seems to be a little bit better. We've already talked about persistence, which is a good deal. But I also think the stability is going to be improved. Also, a lot of client fixes were being done. I think, and server side, I think the last patch, I think it was 4 server crashes and 12 client side crashes were resolved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that was a
great.
big improvement right there.
I agree. Turing, last thoughts for the night.
Looking forward to CitizenCon. Looking forward for the first time seeing a lot of org mates face to face. I think that's going to be very exciting. And as far as the game is concerned, I'm looking for the 3 Ps that are coming up. Maybe 4 Ps. Potential persistence, player count, and prisons. Prisons are on the horizon. So maybe next time we can get together and talk a little bit about the prison play.
I also think next time will be Cutlass or the Carrack play.
Well, the Carrack, yeah, but I'll tell you one thing about the Carrack, and I tell everybody, and for folks out there who played with me recently, they've probably heard it 1,000 times over. If I can't open that hangar by myself, the Carrack's going back. It's going back on the shelf. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm excited about things that are coming. I understand the community's disappointment in CIG's pace of releasing information for the coming quarters. I think they're really making some internal decisions behind the scenes that they're not that we don't see, and it's having to pull resources off. And just from the surface indications, and there's a lot more people that have a lot more connection with this than I do, but they're really pushing to have Squadron 42 come out. I would be extremely disappointed if it's not in some shape or form come October when CitizenCon rolls around. So
I think it's going to go on sale on Black Friday or Cyber Monday of that year.
And Frost Zone, we did see the boxing rings and the shivs in the prison, and I believe somebody asked Shap if he was going to make one of those shivs and have them on there. But remember, you're going to California. I don't know if they'll really want them
plastic.
out there or not.
They'll have to be plastic.
They'll have to be rubber.
Rubber, yeah, that's true.
Rubber.
Okay, we're not going to announce the next Hangar Ready ahead of time because I haven't talked to my two co-hosts. But if I can con them into it, I'm suspecting it's going to be right in between the all hands ADI meetings on the 14th. But I still got to confer with these guys in private. We'll get that date announced sooner rather than later. But otherwise, guys, we've had a great night. Hopefully this was enjoyable. Hopefully it was informational. And, definitely give us some feedback. Join us on discord.hangarready.com. Other than that, I think we're good to go. So have a great week, and we'll see you next month.
I know.
Good night.